everybody, and welcome to this video of myself and Mr. Simon Bates.
Hello.
And we are here with not just two, there's a third one off camera, but three beautiful Selmer tenor saxophones. And why are we here? Because of this new Selmer signature tenor sax, which has just recently been launched with the alto. Now, you may have seen, we just recently released a video with Simon and our other Simon talking about the signatures generally. And in that video, we go over all the spec, all the things they've done, why the signature's different, where it sits in the range, etc. So if you haven't seen that, go and have a look at that video where we compare the signatures, altos and tenors. However, Simon, we wanted to talk specifically about the tenor, didn't we?
Yep.
And we're going to compare the new signature tenor to the Series 3, which is what spawned it, as in this is what they've based the signature on, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
In theory.
In theory, yes.
But they're different cats, as we're about to show you.
Yes.
But we've also got your Mark 6.
We have got my Mark 6, yeah.
Just so for a comparison, we're going to compare the signature, the Series 3, this is what it came from, and that is now being discontinued, and the signature will carry that on. But we thought it might be quite cool to listen to the signature versus Simon's old Mark 6, and we'll explain the work that's had done on it and everything else. So, not too much talking in this, but plenty of playing, because we want you guys to hear it, and then we'll get your opinion, Simon. Okay. Should we start with a Series 3?
Yeah.
Because for many years, that was what was available, and let's have a little listen to it and see what we think. Okay, so I know you've never been a huge Series 3 fan.
No, I mean, particularly the alto, I think is very over-engineered. The tenor is still over-engineered. There's bits and pieces on there that you don't really need, and it seems a bit fussy. For me, there's dead spots in this saxophone as well. You know, the top range doesn't give it the oomph that you kind of want from most saxophones. I'm sure they're great horns for somebody, but I never really clicked with the Series 3. So
yeah.
Well, that's my opinion.
Off to a flying start. No, but what would be interesting is to then hear how it differs to the signature and your feelings obviously on it.
Yeah.
So we have pointed out the signature was developed from the 3 as the base. However, it's quite different. It features some of the specs. I'm going to do that in the other video, so you've got to watch that one. The main difference though is obviously in the neck to tenon area here is larger on the signature. So it's a larger volume area here. And they've opened that up, and I think that will make a bit of a difference to the sound. Plus, it's inherited some of the layout, feel, and spec from the Supreme, which we've also done videos on before. So let's not chat anymore. Let's just listen now to the signature, having heard the Series 3. We'll be back with that in just a sec. Well, they're all in there, yeah.
Yeah.
So first impressions, comparing the two back to back.
I mean, in terms of likability, this is streets ahead for me. It feels lighter as well. I think we commented that the alto felt a bit heavier. The tenor feels lighter than sort of most Selmers. But the sound is huge. The response is great. I really like this saxophone. It's got a good bottom end, and it's really consistent. Where the important areas on the saxophone, around the G and the A, where the octave mechanism sort of swaps over. I found that was the Series 3 was a bit dead, whereas this is really open. Sort of the. And it's got a warmer core to it as well. The Series 3 I thought was a bit bright, but not in a polite way, not in a nice way. This has got it's got the brightness, but it's also got the depth. So I think as a versatile saxophone, if you want to play mellow, it's got that, and it's got the the core rock and roll noise if you want to do that sort of thing. I think this is a real step forward from the range. And I'm really happy that Selmer have decided to discontinue a lot of, they
Bits
seem to
in
be
the
a
middle.
bit confused about Series 2, Series 3, reference 36, reference 54.
Yeah,
all
it's definitely
at
clarity.
least there's there's a stepping stone from sort of.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say this is a second fiddle to the Supreme. I'd need to do a direct comparison, of course, but
And
I
we
think
will.
but I think that this is a great horn. This is a good pro horn.
Yeah. It's strange because they say it's sort of loose based on the Series 3 and carrying on that vibe, but it feels quite different to me.
It feels and looks very different
yeah.
and responds very differently. I think what they're trying to say is that they were pleased with the Series 3. They were proud of the Series 3, and this is the development of of that work that they put into it. But for me, this is a different beast. This is far, far better.
Yeah. Okay.
Than the Series 3 ever was.
Well, we have also got lurking off camera Simon's Selmer Mark 6. So we're going to dig that up. We're going to have a little blow on that too, and then we'll compare the signature and the Mark 6 and see what you think.
Okay.
So there we go, that's the Mark 6.
Yeah.
So this Mark 6 has been stripped of its
It has.
lacquer. It's also been fully repadded here with RU pads and Music Medic airtight resonators. So it's had a fair bit of work.
Yeah.
But just give us a kind of fit, obviously, and it's your horn
Yes, it
versus
is.
what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
jumping onto. How do you feel between the two in terms of
Well,
character?
look, I mean, the Mark 6 classic saxophone, the classic saxophone, I guess, that I'm very lucky to own this one. This is from 1967. To be honest, it blew a lot better once I had the work done on it. I was, edging towards selling it and getting rid of it because, it wasn't quite doing what I wanted it to do. But, fundamentally, the Mark 6 is, for good reason, the most desirable saxophone probably of all time. Immediate things I notice in contrast, the neck is shorter. So the playing position is slightly different. Well, when I say it's shorter, I mean it's a different shape.
Yes, it
You know what
sits
I
a
mean?
little higher.
Yeah. This is maybe I've got a bit of pull down on here. I don't know.
Years of misuse.
Exactly. Yeah. But in terms of playing position and comfort, the Supreme I think wins.
The signature.
So the signature
And the Supreme.
wins. And the Supreme, yeah, because they feel very similar. Sorry about that. The signature wins, but that's not to say that the Mark 6 obviously to me feels familiar, sounds familiar, does kind of what I want to do. It's probably a bit darker,
Right.
which is surprising because obviously the lacquer's been stripped. But yeah, I think there's a bit more body, a bit more fullness to the signature. But then. We're talking about a saxophone made, nearly 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So versus a modern saxophone. Of course, there's going to be developments. There's going to be changes.
Yeah.
I am a fan of modern saxophones, as you know.
Yeah.
But I also love the vintage stuff. I'm just a bit of a saxophone geek, really.
Well, that's why it's here. But do we think then? Okay, let's reframe it because we've done videos about the Supreme, which we both like.
Yeah.
The Supreme is very, very expensive. This is just very expensive.
Right.
And I think this is going to be
but these are very, very expensive
exactly
as well.
exactly. And if you buy certain things, you've got to spend that sort of money to get this level of saxophone. But I think this is my point is the signature is the one that I think is going to sell in the numbers. The Supreme is going to be sort of a slightly mythical thing up the top there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, if I hadn't got a Mark 6 and was looking for a Selmer saxophone, I probably would go for the signature.
Yeah.
I don't need the signature
No.
because I've got a collection of saxophones at home that I use, and I'm a Yamaha artist, and I love the Yamahas anyway. So
but do we
to do that?
Do we think this is a major step forward from Series 2 to
Absolutely.
Series 3?
Yeah,
That's what it feels like.
100% for me. I mean, it really does kind of for me bring the Selmer brand to where it should be.
Yeah.
As far as I was concerned, in the past, Selmers were kind of slipping behind Yamahas, Yanagasawas. You know, I might even consider some of the other sort of custom makes over a Series 2 or Series 3. But yeah, this is now bringing Selmer back where it belongs. Definitely.
Serious stuff. Cool. Well, listen, we've done a good number of videos about the Signature, about the Supreme that we've already done. We've compared a Supreme from 2023 to a 1923 Selmer. We're comparing these with the 6s. We're going to be doing a few more videos in the coming weeks and months about the Selmer range and obviously all the other saxophones, Yamahas and everything else that we stock here. But it is a fairly major deal for Selmer to bring a new thing to market. And this lineup now of the Axos, the Signature and the Supreme, that is going to be their thrust going forward for the next decade plus. So it's a serious, thing to talk about. Cool. All right. Well, listen, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe. Keep tuned to us for more upcoming saxophone-related stuff. Simon, I'm going to let you blow out if you don't mind.
On this or the Supreme?
Well,
Signature.
You blow out on the Mark 6 because you know what that one's called.
Okay.